Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chok Muay Chats episode 32, I believe. I'm joined by a special guest today, Frankie D, business consultant, veteran of the sport for over 15 to 20 years over there in WA, Western Australia, what I like to call the Muay Cow state. Welcome, Frankie. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for joining me and thank you for giving me your time. Uh,
No, thank you for having me on board, man. I appreciate it.
No problem, no problem at all. It's a pleasure to have you. Now, let's get straight into it. Tell me
Yep.
about how you got into Muay Thai and how it changed your life.
Well, man, for me, I think my story, which probably resonates with a lot of people, I found Muay Thai about the age of 19. And truthfully, if I hadn't found Muay Thai at that age, today, I'd either have a needle in my arm, I'd be in jail, or I'd be dead. Like, I know that sounds pretty drastic, but I was in the depths of hell during that time. I was drugs, crime, addiction. I was heading down a really bad road, and there was only one outcome down that road. And up until that stage, there was a few years where trauma had really shaped my life, and I was absolutely drowning in it. And Muay Thai, man, it gave me purpose. It gave me discipline, a reason to fight, and not just in the ring, but in life. Like, it didn't just change me, it rebuilt me into the best version of myself. And I've been blessed for the last 22 years. I've been committed to doing the same thing for other people, and that's transforming their lives through this sport. And went on, started training out of Riddler's gym, Darren Riddler Reese. It was a blessing. Had back-to-back fights with him. And then I had a genetic head injury, which pulled me out of the game. But then Daz gave me Muay Thai again, brought me in as an assistant coach. And I spent just over 8 years as his right-hand man during the era of Kaylee Reese, Eugene Eckelboom, Kim Olsen, Chris Tiger White. So I did my coaching apprenticeship underneath him, which was a complete blessing.
And if people don't know those names, go on YouTube. Kaylee Reese,
If you don't know those names, you don't
yeah.
know Aussie Muay Thai.
Now, some of the going from that era where you've transitioned from Riddler's gym, can you tell us about the history of Diesel Gym?
Yeah, absolutely. So once I hit about 28, 29, while I was at Riddler's, I was also an accountant and a business advisor. And I quite quickly realized sitting in a 1 meter by 1 meter cubicle doing people's accounts, I was going to blow my fucking brains out. I can swear on this podcast, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go for it. I'll just bleep it out.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Look, I packed up my bags, moved across to London for a 2 year staycation kind of style. Found Diesel Gym in London, started coaching out of there, became their head Muay Thai coach, got introduced to MMA out there, came back to Perth, brought the name across back to Perth with me, and opened up the very first Diesel Gym. This is going back about 10, 11 years ago.
Awesome. And it's risen as one of one of the premier gyms around the place. How did you build it to such a success?
Yeah, look, the success and the fall of Diesel go hand in hand. Like, man, when I first opened up Diesel Gym, it was 150 square meter ghetto ex-bikie clubhouse. Like, this place was disgusting, bro. It had like black windows painted, a stripper pole upstairs. But I'm telling you, it's still one of my favorite places. One of the OG Diesels. Like, any of the clients that I work with, I'm like, your first 50, 100 members, your first 2 years in owning a gym, you're going to remember that forever. And we try to grow it old school, like everything that I'd learned from all the other combat sports owners, and quickly realized it wasn't growing. Then I hired a marketing agency, and this is going back 10, 12 years ago before marketing was such a common thing. And these idiots were posting up photos of women in karate gis as lead generation for my Muay Thai gym. And I was like, not only have I spent 10 years in combat sports under Riddler building my fucking reputation, I've got these women showing up as the boys are grunting, doing 500 knees on the bag, coming in for like their boxer size class. So after I blew 25 grand in the first year with them, trying to get it right, I threw myself into marketing because even though I'd done accounting, business advisory, 10 years under Riddler, I had no fucking clue how to open a gym. So I
Mm.
was spending big dollars, about $500 an hour, learning from the top business coaches back then in the States. And then that was the jackpot. Once I cracked that marketing code, we rapidly grew. We went from like struggling to absolutely exploding. We hit the, went to a 300 square meter facility, outgrew that within a year and a half, went to an 800 meter facility. That's when we hit our peak at about 750 members. And then I always return to this old story, Greek mythology, Icarus,
Hmm.
where he grew wings and they kept warning him, don't fly too high. And he got cocky, fly too high, got too close to the sun, burnt and came crashing down. And that was pretty much Diesel Gym at its peak. We were on track to hit 1,000 members.
Wow.
Everything I touched was turning to gold. Like we were crushing it. We were at the peak of Facebook ads. No one else was running ads, dominating the market. Incredible team, incredible branding. And then, if you recall back, this is the first time Mark Zuckerberg went to court for WhatsApp and for
Mm-hmm.
all of his privacy laws. So, cost of ads went through the roof, results came crashing down. Then, all of my business mentors that I was learning from, all of their eggs was in the Facebook ads basket.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
they had no advice. They started going under. Then, I had this terrible staffing issue. And then we went from this thriving, booming business to losing 30 grand a month. And we survived that. The team got together. We spent 9, 10 months hustling our asses off, built it back up. And then literally it was 1 month that we started hitting profits again. And then COVID hit. And
Ugh.
then we all know COVID, the big C word. But COVID for our gym, somehow we turned it into Wuhan. Like apparently, like we were the reason COVID was happening. So yeah, that's when life became really interesting.
Yeah, I think that was the case for a lot of gyms during the pandemic. I mean, that was a pretty contentious time for people, well, tumultuous time for people, trying to point fingers. But I think the fitness industry or even the martial arts industry took a massive hit. I mean, if you look at the statistics here in Thailand, 90% of gyms closed and are no longer open here in Thailand. There was something like
Wow.
10,000. Now, I've said this statistic before. Now, I'm not sure whether it's completely correct, but it was from an interview with Sia Boat Petyindi, the head of Petyindi, and he said that there was 10,000 registered gyms before the pandemic, and now there's only 890 official registered gyms here in Thailand. So that just shows you how much the pandemic crushed Muay Thai and depleted the talent pool and the gyms in the industry here, but slowly resurrecting in all different ways here. So
Well, you're
interesting.
right, because it's slowly resurrecting. Because I deal with not only combat sports gym owners, but
Mm,
through Zip Feeds, I deal with all types of fitness industry business owners as well. And if you've reached a point now where 3 years later, 4 years later, if you're open and at 60 to 70% your member base pre-COVID, then
hmm.
you're doing well.
Wow.
Like it took that much of a hit the industry. Now there's other few other playing factors in there as well. But even during COVID, like a lot of fitness gyms, they could run online hit classes. How do
Mm,
you do online Muay Thai? Like I had my coaches during the middle of COVID lockdown trying to do shadow boxing and shit like that. Like it really crippled us badly. And for
yeah.
Diesel, we were at a point where we were just keeping our head above water. And then COVID in Perth was very unique because the whole world got smashed. We got smashed for a few months, and then the
Mm,
lockdowns ended, but the fear stayed. So we were constantly in this limbo of coming in, getting out, coming in, getting out. And, in hindsight, I tried to do the right thing and not get rid of staff or as much as I couldn't. And then that bled us out. Like we
mm,
were a staffing team that needed 800 members and we were coming back at 500 members. So I
mm.
put all of my investment savings money, I kept pouring it in. And then it was like 2 years later when the rest of the world got back to normal, all of a sudden COVID hit Perth. And then we got shut down for a few more months again. So that consistent fear just crippled so many of us. It was brutal, brutal.
Yeah, it's almost like that analogy of somebody just dangling the carrot of death in front of you, just constant fear of not being able to know what's going to happen next. And, that was a lot of places. I mean, we won't go too much into it because I don't want to get thrown
Oh
off
man, we'd
YouTube.
be stuck getting
Yeah,
bitter about that
yeah,
nonstop.
yeah. But moving on, you've started your consultancy business coming out of COVID, or was this something that you were doing before that?
Yeah, absolutely. So coming out of COVID, so we ended up closing Diesel's doors. I think it's almost 3 years now.
Hmm.
Like as heartbreaking as that was, I'd reached a point where I just completely bled out, both financially and emotionally. I always joke around and joke, not joke. I tell people, I go, look, I grew one of the largest Muay Thai gyms in WA, if not Australia, within 5 years.
Mm,
We got 750 members, but during those 8 years Diesel was open, I also had two divorces. So my mental health, my life, everything got smashed. So
mm,
reached the point where I had to close the doors. But coming out of COVID, before the closure, we started doing the consulting and helping other gyms grow. And it started off helping a mate grow and then another mate's gym grow. And then all of a sudden we realized a model that we had pre the final expansion, the
mm.
300 to 400 member model, which worked really well, was doing really well. So, and once I came out of Diesel, I was using a software company called Zip Leads.
Hmm.
Matt, the owner, goes, "Hey, do you want to join forces? Let's go ahead and see if we can promote this out." And at that stage, I was like, man, I don't know what I want to do with my life. Let's start this. Next thing I knew, it completely boomed. And now, 2 years later, we've helped over 75 combat sports gyms with a 100% success rate. All of them grow on average 100 members per year, which, if you actually do the numbers, that's about a 200 grand revenue for a lot of these guys.
Hmm.
Like most of the club owners that come to me are somewhere between 80 to 120, and we double that member base within 12 months.
Mm.
But more importantly, we teach them the model that actually works and what they need to do to grow.
And why do you think the 300 to 400 member base is like the perfect model? I mean, I from what I've seen, like I used to train out of Andy Parnham's gym over there in Sydney,
Yep.
and he's sitting around that, I believe, around the 300 400 mark, and super successful, super successful. They're doing
Yep.
big things over there. Why is that 300 to 400 member the perfect mark for business owners or gym owners in Australia or anywhere in the
Yeah,
world?
well, actually, funnily enough, Andy and them just jumped on with us like a couple of weeks ago. They've jumped on and they're one of our clients now. Look, when I say the 300 to 400 member model, the models like Andy Parnham's and stuff like that who have been around for a long, long time and have got their
Mm,
feet established. And I don't want to use his model specifically, but I will use a general concept.
hmm.
Is the whole, like, what was the old Biggie song, "More money, more problems"?
Yep.
Like more members, more problems. And the
Hmm.
reason being is bigger isn't always better. Like scaling too much can lead to owner burnout, so mental burnout, and also financial disaster because you reach a stage, and this is what a lot of people in the combat sports, or in the business coaching space, don't understand in combat sports. You're running a full-time business, and you and I both know a business is like three full-time jobs in one.
Mm,
But then you're also running a full-time fight team, which is a full-time job in itself.
mm,
And then one of the things that really, I suppose in hindsight, when I look at it, this was when it started going downhill with me, was when I crept past that 500 member mark and I didn't have the time to invest in my fight team anymore.
hmm.
So I brought a coach to take care of the fight team. And then slowly, as I grew, I became a business owner, not a Muay Thai coach. And that's generally what we find when people grow past that 400 member mark. Becoming a full-time coach, investing every night, being at a fight show every second weekend. You can still do that, but then you're trying to manage a team of 10, 15 people. And then second, one of the things that cripples us in the industry is finding good, experienced Muay Thai coaches that teach your style and are good with people. That's rare to find. So when you're trying to expand the adult staff,
Yep.
it's almost impossible You bring over the Thais, and as much as I love Thailand and the Thais, we all know the stories in Perth with Thai coaches. Like, we can literally name them and spend like 5 podcast shows talking about all the disaster cases. And on the other hand, trying to find a Western coach, it means the cost of wages goes through the roof, so it cripples you. The reason why we can make that work is we actually plug
Mm,
in the kids in model. That's the winning strategy. One thing I recommend to most business owners is creep up to about 150, 200 adult members. So you can still be the main coach. You can have 1 or 2 assistants. You don't need to bring in a squad of ties or a squad of expensive staff, but then have a couple of hundred in the kids and teens department.
absolutely, yeah. I mean, I live here. My wife is Thai. I work with a lot of gyms over here in Thailand. Not work with, but I help out with certain gyms to still be involved in the sport. And bringing Thai trainers over isn't always the answer, as we know that a lot. Uh, Thais, in my opinion, get very homesick, and
Yep.
that certainly causes issues with having them in the gym. So my little piece of advice from what I've seen to gym owners, if you're going to bring a Thai over, you need to make sure that you're setting them up to be comfortable around other Thais because Thais find it very hard to assimilate to Australian culture
Yep.
and in Australia. So that does become a very, very big problem. A lot of them get
Huge.
homesick. A lot of them come over with certain issues that we don't need to talk about. But I mean, we've all got issues, but that is one of the issues or one of the problems that I think gym owners will face when bringing overseas trainers. You're not always sure what
Absolutely.
you're going to get. What about?
And that's why, sorry, go for it.
Oh, sorry. So you go, you go, you go.
See, that's why I recommend the 300 to 400 member mark, because
Mm,
one of the most important parts is not just your members, it's the lifetime value of a member, how long you can keep that member for. And members become loyal to their coaches. And if you're at 4, 5, 600 members, so you're not part of most of the classes, all of a sudden a coach comes in, packs up, moves down the road, you lose a big chunk of your member base.
absolutely.
Like,
Yep.
this
And
is where if you have that 3 to 400 member and premium pricing, the profitability is there, the passion for the sport is there, the loyalty is there, the family is there. The whole reason you opened up a Muay Thai gym is there. And that's what I
mm,
lost. That's one of the things I always teach these guys. I go, don't forget why you opened up a Muay Thai gym. There's much easier businesses out there, bro. Like much easier businesses to run than a full-time fight gym.
mm. And that's why I think a lot of people really need to invest in themselves, like gym owners especially need to invest in themselves, get business coaching. That's why people like you are here because they need to take that mindset shift from treating as a passion project and actually treating it as a business and a service. You're there to provide a service for people rather than just being a passion project.
Yep, absolutely. Like, it's interesting nowadays, especially all the Muay Thai fighters, they've got a strength and conditioning coach, they've got a nutritionist. I
Mm,
do mindset coaching now. Like, there's so many different elements we plug into the fighters. But you go to the business owner, so you're like, hey, like, have you ever run a business? Do you know how to do your BASs? Do you know what ads are? Do you know how to get clients? Do you know how to
mm,
staff? Do you know what a workplace agreement is? They're like, nah, I hold pads. And they're like, that should be enough for my gym to boom. You're like, bro, all right, you've been doing it for 10 years. Maybe listen to someone else now. Like the way it's that hobbyist gym, and more so like, most of these combat sports gym owners, they treat their gym like Fight Club instead of
mm.
a business. And just relying on word of mouth and marketing on itself is just a huge mistake. Like passion and your reputation won't pay the bills.
Absolutely, absolutely. And fighters alone won't pay the bills.
No,
I've always said this that fighters don't keep the lights on. As much as we love training fighters and fighters are the foundation of the sport, the blood, sweat, and tears of the sport. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be a business owner, they're not the ones who keep the lights on at the end of the day. If you're thinking the big picture in terms of gyms, in my opinion, fighters serve as maybe an inspirational tool, or this might be a little bit reductionist, but a marketing tool to inspire
Hmm.
people to come to your gym. So I would find, I'm not a gym owner, but I talk to a lot of business owners, and it must be really hard to find that balance between looking after fighters and looking after your casual patrons coming in or your casual clients. How do you think people can
This
balance
and
that?
going back to that 500, 600 member model
Mm,
becomes near impossible. You've
yeah.
got to choose because your staff, your wages, your costs, your expenses are through the roof. Absolutely. Like the mind shift that you're talking about is so crucial. And this is why, I fired a lot of business coaches because when I take them on board and they look at my accounts, my business model, they go, you need to give up your fight team. You need to cancel your fight team. Just don't have fighters. And I was like, why the fuck would I have a Muay Thai gym if I don't have fighters? This is what I love to do. But I
Mm,
always refer to it, and it's a really simple analogy, the upside down triangle.
hmm
The top, the thickest part of that triangle should be kids and teens.
mm,
Kids and teens are the cheapest to staff. The government provides apprenticeship programs to get volunteers as teens. The parents bring their kids in and they stay the longest. They're the cheapest to market. They've got the highest cost per class value. They're
mm,
just the model that makes sense. Then your adults is what we love to do. But again, like we spoke about, staffing is really difficult.
mm,
But then your fighters is at the bottom of the filter. Now, ideally, when you hit that 300 to 400 member mark, and I'm saying that number, which is an average number, but that 300 to 400 member mark, that means the club owner
mm,
has got admin, sales, and the kids and teens department delegated to someone else, has got a full-time staff member running that, potentially two,
hmm
has got the full-time staff member also running the beginners adult classes, so teaching the basics. The club owner deals with the advanced adults, the fight team, and business management. That way, then he's got a profitable business, he's got freedom in the business, he's got passion to do what he loves. Most of the guys I work with, man, they're doing everything plus PTs all day. Half of
mm,
them have a second job, and they're like, oh, no, we do Muay Thai for the love. And it's that same concept where, unfortunately, it's keeping Muay Thai back in the ages, where doing Muay Thai just for the love of it and not getting paid ends up being brutal.
mm.
And the business owners just take that mentality across, but it completely destroys them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got to be getting paid for your time. And it
Yep.
takes a huge mindset shift. I mean, it's great to be a volunteer and give up your time, but at the end of the day, you've also got to put food on your table and for the ones you love. So, and we all
Man,
know it's a pretty brutal world out there. So,
it's
you,
terrible. Like some of the club owners I speak to that have been grinding like this for 10 years, I'm like, how are you surviving?
yeah,
Like, how are you doing 90-hour weeks plus every second weekend at fight shows? And then some fucking McDojo down the road is showing up in a Porsche with 800 members paying him premium pricing. I'm like, don't you see what's wrong here?
yeah.
Like, it blows my mind. But I'm glad that I've been in this space now because the guys that I've worked with, all the small gyms up to the big names now, are testament to it as well.
Mm, mm. I think there's been a huge shift over the last 3 or 4 years in Australian Muay Thai, especially, sorry, eating my own words. In terms of the professional, neatly wrapped product of what Muay Thai is in Australia, the production value of promotions has gone up, the
Yep.
marketing of gyms has gone up, the level of training has upscaled almost. I'm astounded by the skills and technique that fighters have now. Guys that are coming in with about 2 or 3 fights, fighting like they've had 10 to 15.
It's beautiful, man.
It's really good to see, and that's why I always say that Australia is the home of Muay Thai outside of Thailand.
Yes.
I
Yeah, I
honestly
couldn't agree
believe
more.
that, and I
Yeah.
think Australia is going to be key to Muay Thai's global growth in the next 5 years. 100%.
Absolutely.
I attest
On
to that.
every element, we've been in this game for so long now,
Mm,
and traditional, and we've grown with Muay Thai as well, which is beautiful. And this is
mm.
why I'm so passionate. Like everything that I've done these past 22 years, it's all been around Muay Thai. Like the community, the sport, what it does for people is amazing. And now being able to give back to the club owners and showing them how to actually be able to spend time with their family, go on a holiday. Like you got to realize most of these guys, like when last night they had a holiday, they're like, I went to Thailand with the team for a fight trip. I was
Mm,
like, no, when did you and your missus go on a 2 week holiday? They're like, we
mm.
can't. Who takes care of the gym? Like it's that crazy the way they live.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And the thing at the end of the day is like people always, especially Australians, I think have this perception that money is evil and doing well. And I think it comes to that point of the Australian philosophy of tall poppy syndrome, of cutting
Yes.
down people who are doing well. There's nothing wrong with actually making money in this sport because the more money you make, the more money you can give back into the sport and raise the level of sport. We always talk about wanting to get fighters paid more, right? And I always hear the complaints from promoters saying that, oh, fighters these days are greedy, inflation, ticket sales, we've got all these fighters wanting to get paid. Well, yeah, why not? They're putting their bodies on the line, but
Yeah,
we need to start investing more money into the promotions, trying to get more marketing towards sponsors to invest more money into the promotions. More money, everybody wins. I want to get everybody paid.
absolutely. Like I think there's a certain mindset in Muay Thai that needs to be eliminated. And that's we do Muay Thai just for the love. All
Yeah,
right, we do
yeah,
it for the love, but you don't have to stay broke for it.
yeah.
Like you don't need to, you know what I mean? Now I understand an amateur with 2 fights asking for 5 grand for his first fight. Ridiculous. But yourself as a club owner, if you can earn more money and you can get more members and you can sell more tickets to those members at every fight show, guess what? Your fighters get fucking paid. Like it's insane. Like we'd have 100 people showing up for our guys who are fighting a second time. All the commissions would go to the fighter. Like these kind of things made such a big difference.
Absolutely. And people have got to really turn that mindset away from just doing it for the love all the time. We want to raise the product and we want to wrap it neatly. And this is what it takes,
Yep,
the mindset
yep,
shift.
yep,
Now,
yep, absolutely.
we're running out of time, but we've got about 4 minutes left until my Zoom call shuts off
Yeah.
because I'm a cheapskate and I want to pay for the full thing. Um, so how could gym owners adapt to survive in the current changing industry?
Look, nowadays, if you're not doing paid ads, if you're not doing marketing, if you're not doing organic content, you're invisible. It's that simple.
Mm.
Like you can't do it without that stuff. You can sit down. I don't know how old you are, Joe, but you know Field of Dreams, that old school movie with
Yep.
Kevin Costner. If
Yep.
you build it, they will come. That doesn't work anymore. If you're
Mm.
invisible, no one's going to come to you. And it doesn't matter how good you are, you're going to have a gym full of 50 fighters that don't pay bills, and you're going to have to get another job. What we do, and I'll make this brief, is a real three simple strategy. One, I plug in zip leads,
Hmm.
which is the dummy proof lead generation system that makes running ads and managing leads super easy. The second thing we do is we plug in a kids and teens program. We
Hmm.
teach you exactly how to teach your kids, how to run the program, how to do the curriculum, how to do the engagement. And thirdly, which is coming soon, I've actually partnered with Clubworks, which is the Australian CRM that a lot of the clubs are already using. But we're
Hmm.
actually making the combat sports version. So the combat sports gym owners, based on the consulting, they know exactly their numbers, how much revenue are earning, what's your cancellations, what's your attendance, what's your attendance. Like you need to know your numbers. Marketing and knowing your numbers are the two things that I work with these guys one on one. And they're the ones, if you look through my reviews,
Mm.
you'll see all of the reviews on my page.
And where can people find you?
Frankie Diesel Gym on Instagram is the easiest bet.
Mhm.
And they can hit me up straight through there and we'll go through. I can have a chat to them. I'll see if they're the right fit or not.
Mhm.
Like I said, we guarantee what we do, which means within 2 months, if you're not happy with the results, we refund you. But I've never had a club refund and I don't intend to start. So, I make sure the clients we take on board, we actually get results with.
Well, Frankie D, the man of the hour, thank you so much for
I
your
appreciate
time.
it, brother.
If you guys like this episode, make sure to like, share, subscribe. I think this is probably part one of a series with Frankie D here. There's so much information that we need to get through. I think maybe we make it a three-part series. Uh,
Happily, happily.
let's do next week, same time, week after that, if you can do that. How about that, my
Yeah,
friend?
done. We'll lock it in and I'll break down. I'll give all your viewers all the tips and tricks to actually get themselves out of the jail cell they've built and into a job and business that's actually back to their passion and profitable.
Perfect. Well, thank you, my friend. And of course, this is Chok Muay Chats, available on YouTube and Spotify every 2 weeks, sort of week, whenever I can fit it in my busy schedule. But we'll see you there. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks, bro.
All right.